morning, everyone. This is Nithin Ramachandra from the Nithin Sports Rush. Happy Tuesday. I'm back with another special episode on this show. Before I introduce her, I hope everyone had a great weekend. We're fresh off on a new week, and I can't believe we're almost done with October, and we're heading into November. And this Friday is Halloween, so I cannot wait for that. But I want to introduce today's guest. She is really special. Her name is Tonja Pacheco. She is a social media brand strategist, and she is a sports nutritionist. She's known as Football Mom on Instagram, Twitter, Football Mom 2027. And her son, Jackson Pacheco, he plays for Brick Memorial Mustangs football in New Jersey. I had the honor of going to one of their games last week, so I got to meet Tonja and Jackson in person. She is trying to change the game of football. She's trying to work with NIL deals. We'll get to all that and how she started her journey. She has a really inspiring story, which we'll get to also. And you guys don't want to miss this. Tune in. And she is truly inspiration when I got to meet her in person. And Tonja, without further ado, welcome to the show. How are you and your family doing? And thank you again for joining. And like I said, I had the opportunity of meeting her in person last week, along with her son Jackson. And what a big win for you guys for Brick Memorial as they are chasing a goal and they're on a mission. So Tonja, thank you for joining. Welcome to the family. And how are you?
Thank you, Nithin. I'm very excited to be here. My last name, I know in Jersey I'll say Pacheco, but my son is Portuguese, so it is Pacheco. And anybody watching is laughing because when the announcers say it wrong at a game, the parents now yell out for me. But it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and it's crazy how social media works now these days, where people can find each other and connect and network. And you found us through our mutual friend, Kane Kennedy's mom, Ashley. Shout out to them. But talk about, like, before we get to your journey, just talk about how social media is like big now these days, where people can find each other on all social media formats and connect and find the right people. So talk about that real quick.
Well, the game of networking has changed. There is just so much that can be done with it now. Facebook has always been kind of a personal thing. People say it's for old people, but I have people who've been following my journey since 2009. Instagram is amazing for business, and TikTok. I mean, that's just that's a broad social media platform. But the way that you can interact and meet, especially if you're someone like you or myself, who really have a passion for helping other people through our experiences and our network. It's a game changer, especially in the recruiting industry.
Yeah. So let's talk about Tonja Pacheco journey. When did you start getting into this, especially being a social media brand strategist and also a sports nutritionist? So talk about your journey, how you got started.
So in 2015, I'll give you my backstory later on, but that's when I felt like I finally had the time. I'm the mother of 5. Kids were born 1997, 1988, 97, twins 98, and Jackson 2008. So there's quite the ages there. But in 2015, I decided that I needed to work from home. And I had a large following on Facebook, friends and family, that turned into a network. So I had tried a lot of things. I had been in the nutrition, bodybuilding, and fitness world for most of my life. So I had tried dieting, doing some online stuff. It took a long time to find my niche. But in the 10 years that I was doing that, I took a ton of courses to learn how to use social media for networking. So once we got to the place that we're at now, I decided that my niche really was the football recruiting world, and took everything that I had experienced from MLM selling product. I mean, I used to do the candles online at one point.
Yeah. So when it comes to social media, like social media brand, and what are the keys, like especially for you when you do, like when you go on social media, when you do your post your content, to talk about how do you go about it? What do you strategize and to make it successful?
So the way this had started was because I'm a widow and an only parent, I could not afford to hire a recruiter, and I'm actually glad that I was in that position because a lot of the recruiters out there aren't really recruiters. Um, the game has changed in recruiting where it's all about exposure now. So I took what I have learned about social media marketing, for example, the right times to post, how an algorithm works. For those people who don't know what an algorithm is, it's the rhythm of the internet when it comes to who sees who. It matters who you're interacting with, what time you post, and your content matters a lot too, as well as your platform. So I utilized those skills that I had to start a Twitter. That's how it all started. And Twitter, for all the parents out there that are scared of Twitter, I understand. I literally had to take an online course to figure out how it worked. Once I started my son's Twitter, it funneled over to an Instagram that I had. And Instagram had always been all about pictures. So I just started posting content about my son's football and then his team's football because I love to promote the whole team. And it started to just start to snowball from there to where, because of how the algorithm works, I started to have more people that were interested in football and recruiting start to follow the page. So that's kind of how the networking with the social media had gotten started to begin with.
Yeah, and speaking of that, and I want to go back to I want to talk about your backstory. You have a really inspiring backstory, and you're big into the nutrition and sports nutrition and the bodybuilding. And you guys, you worked with a lot of businesses when it comes to bodybuilding with your late husband. So just talk about that backstory too.
Sure. So I had met my husband, and we were married in 1996. I actually worked for a year while he got his personal training business going. We ended up both being personal trainers. I was an aerobics instructor at the time. He was a personal trainer. When we opened our store, it was going to be about nutrition, and that turned into nutrition training. And then we got into the bodybuilding world. I had gained 96 pounds I was left with after I gave birth to our twins. They were 8 and 8'3", so they weren't little. And I decided that I had wanted to do a fitness show, and he was already in the bodybuilding world. That snowballed into us being promoters. For those of you out there that are old school, we were the ones who promoted the original Rhode Islands, which was a big bodybuilding show. We ended up franchising our store, going into 3 businesses. And then I'm going to use the word depression lightly because there's a lot of people out there that don't understand any kind of mental illness, whether you're bipolar or anything else, it's still labeled as depression. So demons got the best of my husband. Back then, there wasn't enough out there about it being okay to take medication, especially for men. Men don't do that. So rather than taking the medication, he self-medicated with alcohol and took his life in 2009. The kids, the girls, the twins were 11, Joss was 12, I think Jackie was 17, but Jackson was 8 months old.
Yeah.
Not to fast forward the story, but the journey really started when I mentioned 2015. The reason that it took me so long to get my niche was because every time I thought that I was ready to go online, because it's a full-time job when you decide to launch a brand online and to be a social media influencer. So every time I would take one step forward, as you can imagine, my daughters, they came first, and getting them through their father's death was a priority. And when you have 4 daughters, if one was okay, there was always another one that needed you.
Wow. And I was to talk about that. I mean, during that tough time, and seeing and you're seeing your husband going through a tough time, and obviously, unfortunately, taking his life, and that's always hard on the partner and also the kids. And you have 5 kids. You're raising 5 kids alone, and that's why. You're a strong, you're inspiring woman, strong woman when I met you in person. But just talk about the process, grieving process when you're going through all that. All of you guys were going through all that, and you were trying to start that business too. So talk about that, like the grieving process too.
So I am a survivor by nature. I experienced every form of abuse, mental and physical, by the time I was 15. So I think that God either builds you to be a victim or a survivor. And I guess I've just always been a survivor. So when my husband took his life, my focus was, of course, on the kids. They are all amazing. One of my daughters is bipolar, and we found that out when she was 16. So I think that if we were more advanced at the time, that's what my husband would have been labeled with, because it is hereditary. So in 2015, that was the height of us finding out about her. So that was part of what kind of set us back. But well, we made the decision for medication. And I have to plug this.
Yeah.
I do not. I'm not an advocate for medicating children early. I'm not an advocate for medicating a child, whether they're 6 or 17, without thorough research. For example, they wanted to give my daughter, um, I can't remember the name of the medication now. It's going to come to me because I'm getting nervous and sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Lithium. And so I was just like, lithium, do you think we could like back that up into something lighter? And I tend to research a lot of stuff. So long story short, she got put on Wellbutrin. I just wanted to say that because it's okay to medicate your children, but do not just take what the first psychiatrist or doctor says to you. So once we get to around 2019, the girls were, or 2017, the girls were all college age. So I'm just going to back up a little bit to Jackson. When Jackson was, so when Jackson was a baby, is it okay if I blend the story kind of Jackson?
Yeah. I want to hear the whole story, because this, like I said, you're when I met you in person, I told you you're a powerful woman, inspiring woman, and you're a strong woman for this, and raising 5 kids alone now, and your business, you're trying to do something, and you're working on something which is amazing too. So
thank you. Okay, so when Jackson was born, I had designed his nursery. It was sports themed, so baseballs, basketballs, footballs, and soccer balls. And he gravitated right to the football. Footballs always, and brown and white. And then, believe it or not, living in New England, the Patriots colors as well. When he started to walk, he was a late walker. I think it was around 12 months old. He was at the beach, and he was crawling after a football. I have the video footage, thank goodness. And he was irritated because he couldn't catch the ball, and he stood up and took steps to go get the ball. So my son literally started walking with a football in his hand. From the ages of 1 to 4, rather than watching what most of the kids were watching, he was watching ESPN. We had a really large cul-de-sac, and he used to go out in the cul-de-sac, and he would throw the ball, run to the end of the cul-de-sac, and catch the ball. All the dads in the neighborhood were always amazed that he could do it. And one day he was standing outside with an umbrella at one end of the cul-de-sac. So I had to ask him, I said, Jackson, like, what are you doing? He was 3 at the time. And he said, well, it's raining and I'm on offense. So I have to, I'm on defense and I have to wait. And that's when I realized that he literally played offense, threw the ball, and then became defense or something to that effect. So at 5, he started playing flag football. So this is around 2014, 2015, the height of what some of my girls were going through. And in flag football, it became evident from, you should know that I have 0 sports experience. Bodybuilding was it. I didn't play sports in school, and I used to just make appetizers when the guys watched football. So what coaches and other dads said meant a lot. And it was very obvious that my son was gifted. He is a 3rd generation D tackle, by the way. So once I realized that he was the athlete that he was in Massachusetts, and for all my New England family and friends, back then there was nothing for football. Football started in August and it ended at the end of October. There was no year-round training. So anything that you would take your children to advance them in football was in New Jersey. I, as a widow, used to take a 1-week vacation, my grown-up vacation, no kids, and I rented a house with a bunch of friends, same friends every year. Hey, guys, in Point Pleasant. And that's how I found out that football was, it's a big deal here in New Jersey. People travel here for it. And I hate the heat. So I was not willing to go south at all. This is as far south as I was willing to go. So the girls were all, they were either in college or, living their life. They didn't need me as much. I raised the girls in our hometown because The community was amazing. I will be connected with them forever. If it wasn't for them and the support my kids had, I'm not sure I would have got them through everything. By the grace of God, I did.
Yeah.
So I decided that it was going to be Jackson and I packed up my bags. I told my daughters if they wanted to come, they could, and if they didn't want to, I had sold our house and bought a 2 tenement, and I gave them a year to live there to figure it out. One came with me. My other daughter, we kidnapped her, and she's here now too. So my twins were here. My other 2 daughters are still in New England.
Okay.
So once we got here, um, I didn't realize what a boys club football is. And I challenge everybody to, when you go to practice, look around. 98% of the parents who take their children to practice are the dads. It's just not a mom thing. And I can say that my husband took the kids to their practices.
Yeah.
So that was the first wall that I kind of ran into. And Jersey's old school. So
Yeah.
fitting in as a sportswoman is tough anyways. So some of the walls that I hit was as we got going, that I was a helicopter mom. I didn't know much about football. Getting help with rides was difficult. I did most of it. But I decided that Jackson was a quarterback then, by the way. And I'll challenge anyone to argue this one with me. If you are not the coach's son in in AYF and youth football, your chances of being a quarterback are slim and none. So when we got there, I realized that there wasn't a dad there, and that was a big deal. So I better get myself in gear and figure this out. I went through 11 trainers. Because I'm a personal trainer, I will tell you this. Whatever happens on the field, football plays, that's all the coaches. Knock yourself out. And I understand when he goes to college, I'm going to have to let go of the nutrition and training. But for now, I've got a hand in it, especially when he was young. So after 11 trainers, I found Ty Coleman of Boss Up Academy. He was the first person who believed in my son. I knew he wanted to play in the NFL, and that's his. I'm big. If you have a dream, turn it into a goal and smash it. That's it. So I was told not to give my son pipe dreams. So once we got with Ty was like, "Oh, this kid absolutely D1 football," because that's like some kind of poison world in this world. Let me tell you, parents, something. There's nothing wrong for shooting for D1. I mean, be smart about it. If your child isn't D1, you'll know sooner or later D2 is fine. But it just seems like they push D2 rather than D1. So Ty Coleman of Boss Up Academy was working with Jackson, and that helped me a lot to be able to really believe in myself, to believe in my son's dream. As we got to training, that's when, say, we're about 8th grade now. Jackson was a tight end and played on the defensive line. I think he might have played O-line too. I can't remember. Ron Mamano would know if he's watching. Hi, Ron. That was his coach all through AYF. So once we started talking about college, the other wall that I hit was, and I heard this from more than once, and if you're the dad out there that said it, just be glad that I'm not saying your name. You're giving your son pipe dreams. Don't fill his head with dreams. D2's fine. D3 gives the athletics. They don't give athletic scholarships. They do. They give you money if you get good grades. So again, I just put my big girl pants on and ignored them all. By the time we got to 9th grade, Jackson, he had a few choices of schools to play for. I'm not going to name them all because I know the schools that he didn't choose are bitter. So we chose Brick Memorial. Great group of coaches, and he'd played AYF with all of these kids, so he was in his friend circle. He absolutely killed freshman year. He was, amazing. Stats were high. When we got into sophomore year, his goal was to be a starter, but it was also Jackson's first experience with being a low man on the totem pole. So this is when Val Barnaby of ESSA Fitness came in. We added him to our team. He's amazing. He was captain, Rutgers football player for years, did a stint in the NFL. And ESSA Sports, we'll tag him in it. His mindset for children and his position-specific training, among other things, is phenomenal. So it was started to up the game for Jackson. Jackson was JV sophomore year, first 4 games. But I mean, I think he got something like 12 sacks in one game. So it was time to move him up. So he started playing varsity, fourth or fifth game of sophomore year. Okay, so he was a D tackle. He's got his trainers now. Now we're finishing up sophomore year. So that's called a rising junior. Now, something that happens, and for all the parents out there, it's really important to me that when something's hard, if I went through the trenches, you don't have to. So I'm telling you right now, it's not rising junior. It's not the end of your child's sophomore year that you need to get on the ball. It's his freshman year. So I was like, oh my gosh, I guess we were supposed to get on the ball. So I started his Twitter. I took a 2-day course on how to do it. And then I was like, we have to get to camps. And you have to be careful of the camps too. You'll hear ones called money grabs. I'll give some free information away. The way you should choose your camps is by the college your son wants to attend. So Jackson wants to stay closer to home because it's not because he doesn't want to leave home. He doesn't want to leave me alone. I'm going to be fine, but he wants to stay closer to home. So, and he wanted to go D1. So we chose Delaware, Syracuse. We did Penn State. I'm not even going to talk about Penn State. Just not impressed. Wagner, Villanova, Monmouth, all the FCS and FBS schools around here, Syracuse. And what I did was I made sure that I didn't choose a camp that was hosted at the college. I chose a camp that had the college coaches present. That is your smartest thing to do. Because what we did is when we went there, it was hard because there are camp invites. And what happens is, so for instance, this was Jackson. He was a rising junior going into his junior year. So when he went, the kids that were invited that were already juniors, so they're really being looked at. So again, you're low man on the totem pole. So when you go to the camps when your child is younger, you're going to make contacts, which we did. And I have to tell you, the connections made at Delaware and at Syracuse were amazing. One thing that my son, he got a lot of things from me, but one thing that he did get from me is loyalty. Whatever school my son chooses, he could be offered a $500,000 NIL and he'll never leave it. So what's really important, and this should be important to other parents as well, is you need to choose the school that's going to be a fit for your child as well. Jackson also wants to go to the NFL. Therefore, when we're looking for schools, I need to make sure that these coaches have turned out an NFL player, that they do believe in that dream becoming a goal. So we got through the camps. We did 9 camps in 4 weeks. For anyone who hasn't done camps, let me tell you, that is a lot. And it's expensive, which is why. So I started a sponsorship page for Jackson on my website. I didn't, Football Mom 2027. I didn't realize that you could sponsor individual athletes. But what this led to, as I was, people with 2 incomes, it's hard to pay for stuff, but me paying for stuff is sometimes it was half of my weekly paycheck. So that's what's prompting me. And Nithin is, I'm going to get involved, right? We're going to start a nonprofit. And what this nonprofit is going to be for is for families that can't afford. So for instance, my son has been, he's doing the Prep Red Zone Combine, because now we're doing combines for verified numbers. You guys can go to my website. There's all kinds of free stuff there for you that explains it all. I'd be here forever. But he was invited to the PSCG All-American game in Georgia. He was invited to the Navy Bowl Combine, which that was a really big deal. He also has invites to NXGN camps, which gives him a chance for Adidas Pro Day. But the camps run you almost $300. That's to sign up. Now you have all this travel, and I will argue with anybody who says this is not true. You have to go to these things. That's the only way that you get national exposure. Just trying to get exposure in your local area is extremely difficult. But if you can get that child the exposure that they need, which happens through social media, then come the national invites. We're looking at the Georgia trip, that's going to be around $2,100. The Texas trip, that's close to $3,500. So what I wanted to do, and I was so glad that I met Nithin, was that we are going to open a foundation that will help families pay for this and also pay for camps. So where we are now is Jackson's in an evaluation process. And I want to give all the parents out there hope. Listen, this is the weirdest game I've ever been in. The coaches, because a coach doesn't respond to your child, listen, that whole mass email thing, it's done. It's over. The coaches, they have filters on. The recruiting companies, they're going to charge you thousands of dollars and they're going to send mass emails. And those coaches have filters on their emails. And usually they only go to the student assistant of the assistant, who's the assistant of the coach. It takes a lot to get there. The game is on Twitter now, 100% on Twitter. So when you're interacting with these coaches, for instance, if they follow you, that's a sign of interest. Now, if they have their DMs open and you're DMing them, for example, I send weekly updates to Jackson, and then Jackson sends them to his coaches that are evaluating him. I love the one coach. I'm not going to say your name, but he leaves his scene receipts on. So whenever we send something, he sees it, and he sees it within minutes. That means he's got his notifications on, so we know he's watching him. A lot of the other coaches, they don't leave that on, but they didn't unfollow him. So when I talk about it, it is a mind game like you'd never believe, because there's so many rules to it. They can only contact your child so much. They can only talk to your child so much. But the floodgates open up in January. And one of the reasons that I started Football Mom 2027 is because a lot of parents don't even know how to function Instagram. So what I created is I've created PDFs that teach you how to do it. If you go to the main page of my website, at the bottom, if you click on audit, you can do a self-audit on your Twitter, on your Instagram, and it kind of lets you know where you're at. And then because I am extremely conscious of money, I have things from do-it-yourself PDFs all the way to hire me to do it all for you. But that's kind of where we are right now in our recruiting game. And I think I covered how Football Mom 207 starts.
That's amazing, and amazing story, amazing background, and obviously I checked out your website, and your website is amazing so far, and she just put it out there. So whoever, we'll share the website, and I want to be part of. I told her when I met Tonja in person that I'm already in with her when it comes to the foundation work and the nonprofit that she's trying to start. So, but I want speaking of, before we go any further, when you mentioned about your daughters earlier, when it came to the medicine, how are they feeling now? By the way, your daughters.
She's amazing. So when I said we kidnapped her, we actually did an intervention because she didn't come with us to New Jersey right away.
Yeah.
So she wasn't taking her meds like she was supposed to. So my daughters, because we're a pretty tight family, went up and got her, and she was trapped here without a car for a month.
Oh.
And it gave me a chance to get her on the meds. So she stayed home she was 21 then, maybe. And she stayed home for a year and a half. So now that she's 27, and any parent that's going through bipolar with their child, they're on Wellbutrin, great medication, but the goal is to get them to understand the illness. If they don't understand the illness, they go through I'm going to go off of medication because it doesn't make me feel good. If the medication isn't making you feel good, it's the wrong medication. You shouldn't be tired and you shouldn't feel different. You should feel good. My daughter has become a big advocate because she was bullied when she was younger too. So she's now finishing up her bachelor's degree in exercise physiology and teaching. She's going to be a gym teacher, and she did it in 3 years. She lives on her own. She has 2 jobs. She's doing absolutely fantastic. She's actually living her best life. She's the only daughter I have who's at 27 is still single and on a career path. I'm the grandmother of 3 now.
Oh wow. Yeah. So speaking, before we get to Jackson's football career so far, I want to talk about you going back to college. Going back to college initially to be a nurse for nursing, but you ended up switching majors. But I want to talk about that experience going back to college and just and because you're focusing on one goal on this one mission that you're trying to accomplish. But just talk about the experience going back to college and end up
Okay.
majors too. So
So, financially raising the kids, not easy. We did have life insurance policy, so I had some help there. But as the kids started getting older, I just decided to live within my means because working outside of the home when you're raising 5 children on your own, especially getting through their father's death,
yeah,
is too much. So we last year, 2025, when 2024 had started, I was thinking because when your spouse dies, there's something called Social Security death benefits. So it's not a lot, but it makes up for me having an entire income so that I can still do the mom stuff. I started thinking, wow, Jackson's going to be graduating in 2 years. I better figure this out because again, I hadn't had a niche for social media yet, so that wasn't really going anywhere. So I was trying to think of what job suited me, and I decided it would be nursing. I was definitely scared to go back to school, but I'm a nurturer. I like to take care of people and help people, and I thought that a degree in nursing could do a lot. My first and second semester, I did get a 4.0. I'm on the honor roll.
nice.
But that brings us to I finished school in May of last year, right when I realized we had to get the recruiting going for Jackson. As we started to go through the process, and I realized that I was his recruiter and his, what do they call me, a momager?
Like
Yeah,
a
his
like
momager.
I'll give you a good example. Like Lamar Jackson, he does not have an agent. His mom is his agent, Lamar Jackson. You're
Well,
like
high five to
right
his
now,
mom.
right now you're like Lamar Jackson's mom, but for
Yes.
Jackson. Yeah.
So I realized that because right when we started the recruiting was one of my finals, and I don't know if anyone's been in nursing school, but it is not easy. That's the anatomy too, and it was hard. But I realized that I either wasn't going to be able to give Jackson 100%, which God did not build me that way. I give my kids 100%, or I wasn't going to give nursing 100%. So I got in touch with my advisor, and I just told her I'm not sure what I'm going to do because I don't want to put school off for a year because that's a bad idea. Maybe I'll go part-time. And then as I got into the recruiting and this, I'm really the social media part of recruiting.
Yeah.
So I was watching my son's numbers climb. You guys, Jackson's Twitter handle is JAX2027.
I think so. Yeah.
Take a peek at his followers. The coaches who started following my son blew my mind,
Mm,
and I enjoyed it. The problem was making the videos and doing all this. I was spending anywhere from 3 to 7 hours a day on it.
wow.
So I figured nursing's not going to work. And then I realized that when I graduated, I didn't think I'm the smartest, ditziest chick you'll ever meet. I always say that about myself. I didn't realize that I would be 60 when I graduated.
Mm,
And you have to do 12-hour shifts and they're at nighttime.
wow.
Like, no, I'm going to change it. So I decided to change my major, which I did
Yeah.
to sports management
Huh.
because with my social media experience
Yeah.
and the new NIL, which for those of you who don't know, that's name, image, and likeness, that I needed to learn about it. I also you would think that as a widow, people would help you. I built a home and got screwed by about $200,000. People take advantage. And my son's opposite of me like that. He doesn't trust you till you give him a reason to. I trust
Right.
you until you give me a reason not to. So I said, okay, let's do sports management. And that's what I am going to school full time for right now so that I'm the one who manages him. Plus, did you know that sports managers get recruiters, they make a lot of money, but sports
Yeah.
managers get almost 25% of an athlete's income.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm the one who made him. I want the 25%.
And I'll take the 25% too.
Right?
I love managing players too, like working with athletes, and it's you make a lot of great money with that too.
Well, the good thing about a sports management degree, what I was really after is the knowledge. Finance, I understand and all that, but um, I still have a lot to learn about Jackson's position. I've learned a ton, but about the football game in general. And like I said, the recruiting is such a mind game. So the sports management gives you experience on how to deal with all that stuff.
Yeah. So talk about obviously now Jackson's journey, and you explained a lot of it before, but just talk about as a mom and being his manager now and his sports nutrition coach pretty much, and getting him to the right path before college. What's it like as a mom, as a single mom of five, seeing him playing the game that he loves, and you told the story about when he was a baby picking up a football, and that's amazing. But let's talk about now you seeing his dream coming to reality and playing for a great high school in Brick Memorial, and having great coaches, great trainers, and having the support system. Let's talk about that, and how proud you are of him, and getting Division I offers here soon, and obviously he's focusing on one goal, which is football, football, football. Just talk about that.
Okay. I'm only laughing because the most moms are yelling at their kids for things much different than me. Last night he didn't drink his casein protein, or
Oh,
he missed his creatine. We literally have I'll talk about his weight first. Because I come from the bodybuilding world and I focused on contest prep food. I used to make the food for other people and as well as ourselves. I'm really big on cooking all our food on Sundays, which I took my bodybuilding experience in nutrition and started applying it to sports. So on our counter, there are containers, and it says, one says like Monday AM and Monday PM. And in the Monday AM is a weight gainer, which has carbs and protein in it and is creatine. And at nighttime is 2 scoops of casein protein because it's slow release, so it's good for him. What he has to take to school. So you're talking about a teenage boy. And when it just comes to the nutrition, because I can't wait to get onto the training and all that, but when it comes to the nutrition, it's difficult. Your child needs to be eating 5 times a day.
yeah,
You'd think getting a boy to eat 5 times a day would be easy. 5 bowls of cereal a day, yes, but you need balance. It's got to be the right macros: carbs, protein, and fat.
yeah,
Long story short, Jackson does not do that on his own. This container says, Tuesday on it, because he missed it. But it was important because I took Jackson from at the end of 8th grade, he was 199. At the end of ninth grade, he was 230. And then this year, I had him. The goal was 260. I got him at 265. And he just hit 270 actually, which is extremely important. I'm learning because the coaches, especially I'm talking D1 right now. D2, they care about the size as well, but they need to see his genetics. I'm going to take credit for his genetics. I'll give my late husband credit for his athletic ability, but he's got a great frame and he's able to put on weight. There's a lot of coaches that will say to me, "Oh, don't put any more weight on him. As long as you can keep your child's speed and agility where it needs to be, put the weight on him." So, it's stressful, but I'm glad that I have the experience, and he is as well. When it comes to his discipline, you have to stay on him like you do any teenage boy. It's difficult. He gets up in the summertime. He was still getting up at 5:30 in the morning, just like it was school. He had to go to his early morning practice from 6:30 or 7 until 10. And then he went to work at a marina. That's physically, he's lifting 200-pound batteries. The guys loved him because they didn't have to use that truck that moves everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used Jackson. So he would just pick him up, put him on the boat. And then when he finished there, he would go to either Thai or Val, and train more, which is a lot. So So it's stressful. I'm super proud of him, but you have to be the machine behind your child if you want them to excel at a sport. I hear parents say to me all the time, "He won't do it." I said to Jackson, because I have been hit with this a lot. Just like where Jackson's going, just make sure that this is something he wants. Oh my gosh, are you like kidding me? You think I'm going through all this for something he doesn't want? His sophomore year, I said to him, Jackson, I want you to know that if you don't want to do this or you just want to play football for fun, tell me. I'm happy to do that. And I had that conversation with him again about 3 weeks ago because practices are going late. He's getting all these combine invites.
Yeah.
And if it's not his drive, then I can't be the machine behind him. So how it goes is great, but it's a full-time job. If you have a gifted athlete, what you need to do for your athlete to succeed is a lot.
Yeah, it's like it's like building a house. You got to start with the foundation, and then you're already halfway through the house. It's just you got to keep it going, and you want to make it the biggest house possible. So that's what you're trying to do. And look at Jackson is performing on the field. And when I came to your guys' game on Friday was against my old high school, Jackson now, which is called Jackson Township, which is weird to say, but um, he had a great game. You thought he thought himself he didn't have a great game, but he did have a great game. He made an impact. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the stats. It's about making an impact, and he did make the impact in that game. And he got a forced fumble in that game against Jackson Township. So he and it was cool seeing him play both sides of the ball, defense and offense, getting a chance of that. The number 70, and man, that was cool to see, and just to see the growth of him and the coaches believing in him to play both sides of the ball. It's cool to see. So
We had when for the game, the reason Jackson is his biggest critic, which is good. That kid is always trying to improve. Yes, he wants to please the coaches, but he just feels God blessed him with this ability and he is going to make the most of it. And the reason that he had a hard time at that game was because if people don't know about football, his position on defense, because of the plays that the offense ran and because of how much we had it covered, he didn't have to do a lot. But I will go back to Jackson had done an interview, and it was funny because so Jackson, if he ever played O-line, it was like guard. And it became very evident, especially through the write-ups on Jackson this year. I didn't know what a 3-tech was. I had a dad on Twitter argue with me about 3-tech, but I won. It's actually a thing. So, and just for anyone who doesn't know, that's the guy who goes into the gap and he's got 2 or 3 guys on him.
Yep.
So long story short, Jackson comes home and he had been talking in the spring about how we didn't have a center and the one center that was going to play and all this stuff. So he comes home and he goes, I'm going to be the center. So I'm thinking, first of all, your football IQ has to be really high for that. And what both of us didn't know was that you're like the second quarterback. So he tells me he's going to be center. And I'm like, well, okay. Jackson thinks he can do anything. And he's usually right about it because he'll work for it. But that is his mentality. When it comes to a team, he'd be a kicker if they needed him. So he said, all right, I'm going to be center. Played a few games, came home, upset after film because he got in trouble for this and that. And, as a mom, I'm like, you've only been a center for like 2 weeks. Why are they giving you a hard time? And he's like, it doesn't matter how long I've been a center, Mom. Yeah. I'm the center. I screwed it up. So he he decided that he was going to go all in as center. And game 4, I think it was, we played, why can't I think of the name of the team? It'll come to me after. This is age. I'm sorry. Anyways, it was 160 play game.
It was week 4, you said?
Yeah, it was it was the one that we weren't supposed to win against them. The Hornets. What's their Hornets?
Let's see. Your first. It was.
Not Rumson.
Was it Point Pleasant Borough?
Nope. The Hornets are begins with an H.
Homedale.
Yes, Homedale. What a game. That was a great game, but 160 plays. He did get 3 plays off on defense. Needed a little break. Played 57 plays on defense, 80 on offense. He even got a write-up about it. 80 perfect snaps. The
Wow.
kid had been a center for 4 weeks. That is Jackson. Jackson will work and work until it comes together. And I have to say, the coaches, they're coaching a new player who's never played this position. They were phenomenal. Jackson has developed amazing relationships with them. But I wasn't sure if I should, so because I'm new to the recruiting game, I wasn't sure that I should promote this. And that's when I had found out, because that's what I was getting to. Jackson came home. He got in so much trouble at film because he didn't know that, the quarterback calls the play, but then it's the center's job to, I believe, call the play to the guys on the line. And somebody else had called the play, so Jackson just went with it, and it wasn't the right play. So he got in trouble because he was the one supposed to do it, but he had no idea he was supposed to do it. So I guess it's I've been told that the fact that he could jump in and do that is pretty phenomenal. I know he's great, but he is still, I'm not good. He's blown my mind at how phenomenal he actually is. He's very gifted, very determined, very focused. I will say that regardless of the college he chooses, I can say with all confidence they are lucky to have him because he's just a great athlete.
Yeah, yeah. And not only you're helping out him, you're helping out his teammates, and I want to get to one of his teammates, which I got to see in person and meet. Number 4, Nazir Matthews.
Yes.
He's a stud on the field, and we seen it that Friday. And you told me that he has no offers yet. He's a senior, and he has no offers yet. Just talk about him and his family real quick. What's it been like, the journey, like seeing?
So Nizier, he is. If you guys go to my Instagram's a great place to find people. That's Football Mom 2027 as well. That's, you can find me anywhere there. But I have a lot of Nizier on there, and you can DM me if you're interested in finding him. But phenomenal athlete, and I want to say to the parents again, you got to start the journey somewhere in the freshman year. You have to. These children need to know they have to keep their grades up. Grades are a big deal. The coaches aren't going to take care of it for you. It's another stress for a parent, but you have to. So in Nazir's situation, he is a local star. And what I mean by that is he's covered here not in all of Jersey, but in the Shore Conference. All the papers write up about him. That kid's broken. He broke his own record this year. He is. You go to Max Preps, and it's with the Y, Nyzier Matthews, and you'll see his stats. They're absolutely astonishing. And his quarterback is Jason Lahara, who you saw him. He's just amazing as well.
Yep.
So what happens is when you're only a local known, that's it. Where do you go from there? Nowhere. You'll hear it all the time in the recruiting world. Don't think because you're great, they're going to find you. And they're not going to find you. Coaches right now, you guys, they have thousands of kids coming into them on the DMs and coming to camps and all that. And to go to a camp, it costs money. He's being raised by a woman who's in my situation. There's not a lot of extra cash to pay for things. I want him to go to a combine that's coming up. It's $130 to go. So where do you get the money from? So in Nazir's situation, and Nithin agrees with me, we'd like to get him some exposure. He is a wide receiver, correct? He's a wide receiver.
Wide receiver, he can do any. I guess he can play multiple positions. I guess they have him playing multiple, but he was playing receiver most of the game on Friday.
Yes. And you would know more about the specifics of his position because I'm learning center. But I just want to get Nazir any exposure that I can because he's a senior this year. He's graduating, and I mean, if it's a D2, let me tell you, you guys, you're lucky because the kid's a superstar. He's a D1 athlete all the way. So I think that what's affecting him is the low exposure, and I'm not sure where his grades are. I would have to look into that. But he is such a phenomenal player that even if his grades aren't where they should be, we could get him to where we want them because he's worth it. And exceptions are made all the time, especially for somebody that wasn't guided in the way to go for recruiting. Jason Lahara, same thing. Jason Lahara, I believe, doesn't have any offers, or he might have one.
I think he has. I got to double check on that.
This quarterback is, yes, he's not tall, but again, another phenomenon. I mean, the records he's broken, they go way past. And Nizier was athlete of the week. Did you see it? He got his name on the whole Jets billboard. Did you see that?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that gave him at least more exposure in the area. And I know a few NFL players follow me. I know you guys have connections, so you guys got to help a kid out and get back.
I have a bunch. Obviously, we have a connection through to pro athletes also, so I can definitely spread the word for him to the players that we work with.
See, this is why I'm so excited to work with you, because you have the same mentality as I do.
Mm-hmm.
You want to keep giving back. The only thing that I can say about helping athletes is I think the very first thing that has to be done is you have to look into their work ethic. Because if you try and help an athlete that is not motivated himself, it's, that's a losing battle.
Yeah, so 2 more things here before I let you go. I want to talk about some of the events you guys are the showcasing events that you have coming up for Jackson, and also talk about that you're trying to be the first woman for NIL. You're working on something big for the NIL, so I want to get to that because that's really important now for colleges and obviously for athletes. So talk about that, and also talk about some of the showcases that you're going to have coming up.
Okay, so the showcases that we have coming up is we are doing. And for anybody local, we're doing Prep Red Zone, their New Jersey showcase. It's right in Jackson. So that's so great. It's the next town over. Great opportunity for verified numbers. If you don't know what verified numbers are, when you say every coach wants to know what your child's 40 is, what their shuttle 5-10-5 is, vertical. There's all these measurements, their height and weight. You can say your son's 6'4" and weighs 280 pounds all you want until he is at a showcase or a combine or a camp where they weigh him and measure himself. No one will believe your child's height, which is something I do tell people. Do not exaggerate your child's height. If you say he's 6'2" and he's 5'11", you wrecked it. The coaches now see him as dishonest. You can't do that. You've got to be honest about it. So after that, which is a little nerve-wracking because working on speed and agility when you're a lineman, it's difficult. And he's going to get verified numbers coming because we're going all the way to get a ring this year for sure, which means his bye week that Saturday is the first combine. So I'm at home threatening him not to embarrass me, never mind him.
Yeah.
And then after that, we were invited to the PSCG, which I think they still have 4 spots left. It's an invite only, but you can give it a shot. And that's down in Georgia. And then after that, we were doing Prep Red Zone, but because of the Navy Bowl Combine invite, and I'm smiling like this. If you guys don't know what it is, look it up. Anybody who knows about football, it's
showcase too.
Yeah. So that is January. It's near my birthday. January 9th to the 11th. And then the next weekend is the NXGN show. That's a big one. That's in Atlanta. And the top 20 kids, I believe, make it to the Adidas Pro Day the next day. And then we have one in April. It's another NXGN. I do a just in case all the time. If he does well but needs to improve on anything, he's got another shot. But I'm pretty sure that he'll make it. And then what was I going to talk about?
You have the Navy Bowl or Navy National Combine. I have it here. It's San Antonio, right? January, and then
yes, that's the one in Texas. That's January 9th to the 10th.
Yes.
Yep.
And then you have the next one is Atlanta 24th, and April is in Boston.
That's the one. Mm-hmm. Yep, the one in Boston. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, and then that also prompted me. Besides the nonprofit, Ty Coleman is one. Nithin, I'm sure you probably don't want to get involved as well, but because it's so important for these kids to get early exposure, we are getting the logistics done, but we are going to start running combine camps in the spring for 7th and 8th graders. Nothing younger than that, nothing older than that, because there's a lot of private schools. Jersey's one of the few places that you can choose your high school. If RBC wants you to play football, you can play football and they'll work with you. I mean, these high schools give scholarships for families that can't afford it as well. So we plan on having camps that are run kind of just like the college camps and combines are, only for 7th and 8th graders, so that we can just help it. I always think if my son, or if Nazir, or if other parents knew that this game literally starts way earlier, they would be much further than they are. And then what was the other thing? Oh, the NIL.
Mm-hmm.
I don't always say my goals out loud, but I am going to say I'm pretty confident in it. I intend, so when your child goes to college, there's now the NIL, name, image, likability, and there's a kid who got paid $3 million to be a quarterback. I don't want my opinion. I won't give you my opinions on that because that's insane. But so high school kids, my son specifically, he's kind of serious kid, but he's kind of camera shy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of other kids out there like that. So my goal is to be the first football mom to get an NIL.
Mm-hmm.
I want to, if you guys go check out all my platforms, we'll put the links below. Some are still being built because they're from my fitness, but I want to keep my followers. But I'm getting brand deals now. And I want to be able to have other athletes represent the brands that I'm promoting, so that their NIL will fall in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing, but will also give them exposure. Because if you go to most of these kids' Instagrams, I mean, not all kids have the whole personality for it, because when you get to college, they help you run it. So I want to be the first football mom who does it.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. That's truly amazing. And man, what a story, Tonja. This episode has been in my opinion, one of the best. And
oh, thank you.
You did a great job, and you explained everything well. And I cannot wait to work more with you and help Jackson out, his teammates out too at Brick Memorial. I think we have a good thing going on here, and big things to come for your son Jackson and your whole family, and his rest of his teammates too. And obviously, we're chasing a goal here in the play, trying to make the playoffs and hopefully get that ring, which that's what's
sentimental value for my son. That's for sure. His father was the only one to get a ring in his high school.
Wow.
In all the years of school. If it's okay, if I could just, anybody out there, whether you are an athlete, a parent, a business, my son's sponsorship page, I have set it up so that you can donate $25 to $5,000 if you want. I've also, there's also a sponsorship page where you sponsor him and you will get the publicity and promotions. But if you go to Football Mom 2027 and you choose on sponsorship donation, it's all there. Anything that you guys can do to help. You can also, his trips are there. You can sponsor a whole trip if you want to, but extremely grateful for everything you do. And please know my intention once I get Jackson through this is to give back to all of the families that were in the same situation as me. So you're helping a greater cause.
Oh, there you have it. Tonja Pacheco.
Thank you
for joining the show. This was amazing, and glad that we are connected, and cannot wait to get this episode out. But cannot wait to work with her even more. So
thank you. Feelings mutual.
Yeah. Thank you. And there you have it, guys. Thank you again for another great episode.
Okay. Thank you.